So, Dr. Brian Westerberg, it's lovely to see you. Thank you very much indeed for joining us at ENT and Audiology News to talk about IFOS 2022 in Vancouver. It's been a long and eagerly anticipated meeting. There's been sort of stop-start for a while now. Tell us a bit about how we got to this point and what you're most looking forward to next year.
Yeah, it was, it's been a bit of a roller coaster ride over the last 4 years. Finding out in 2017 that we were going to host the meeting in Vancouver for the first time in Canada was fantastic. And then with the pandemic, it was a struggle to try and decide whether we should postpone or not. And clearly, in retrospect, it was the right decision to postpone. And even now, half the world is still struggling with vaccination rates and stuff. So, we're still feeling a little bit aware of that, and as we're trying to proceed with planning for 2022. Having said that, enough already. I think we've discovered what video conferencing by Zoom can do, but I think we've also discovered what it can't do. And I think we're all ready to get back together face to face, and that's what we're planning for June 2022 at this point.
Fantastic. I mean, the provisional program looks great. Are there some sort of academic highlights that have particularly jumped out at you so far?
Yeah, I think most people expect that there will be the updates and the what is new and cutting edge in each of our subspecialties within otolaryngology, and we certainly will be covering that. But I don't know about you, but the meetings that I really enjoy going to are the ones where you come away with something novel that you really weren't expecting, and which will help you be better as a surgeon, even though it has little to nothing to do with surgery per se. And to be honest, that's the part of the meeting that I tend to focus on when I'm looking at meetings to go to, and that's what we're focusing on when we're arranging IFOS 2022. So the theme of the conference will be globalization in healthcare, and that's going to encompass a number of different areas. Firstly, diversity. I think whether you're in the local coffee shop or a multinational business or medicine, I think diversity is key to the success of any organization. And I think it behooves us as an international federation to look at diversity. And one of our plenary speakers will be Dr. Jocelyn Clark from The Lancet, who will speak to us on issues of equity, diversity, and inclusion. The second area is, climate change and planetary health. And, this year we saw editors of 200 medical journals coming together and basically saying we need the same reaction to climate change as we had to the COVID pandemic. And I think it behooves us as a profession in which healthcare contributes 5% of the CO2 emissions global wide to look at what we do and how we do it and how we can do it better. And the UK has been a leader in that in many respects. And some of our speakers will likely be from the UK who are really looking at trying to make healthcare carbon neutral. And then the final area, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, and just thinking about the sort of the environmental aspects in the last few days and weeks, you in Vancouver have really hit the sharp end of that, haven't you? Are you coming out the other side of the storms?
Oh my God, I think we need Noah and the Ark. It's been crazy. In the summer we had record high temperatures, and now we've got record rainfalls, which in Vancouver is an awful lot of rain, let me tell you. And, Vancouver itself is relatively protected, but up the valley just outside of Vancouver, it's still, as I look outside now, the rain is still coming down. It's biblical what's happening. So, and then that's a real life reflection of climate change, isn't it? And if we don't change our trajectory, we're in for some difficult times in our next generation.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I was going to go back to one thing you were saying a second ago about the value of meetings and what people get out of them. I mean, for me, one of the things I really like is learning just some things that can seem quite straightforward, that just you pick up practical tips from other people, not necessarily the sort of high-end, very esoteric stuff that is only done in a few centres around the world, but actually the very practical things. And think, well, actually, I can take that back to what I do day to day. I find that enormously helpful. Or just how you explain things to patients, or just watching how different people approached the same problem in different ways around the world.
And I think it behooves us to talk to other people for that very reason. You know, we think in our high income countries that we have all the answers. Well, that's not true. Many of the resourcefulness that you see in low and middle income countries, there's lessons to be learned there that we all need to look at. And I think the company which is going to do well going forward is not the one that comes out with some fancy new piece of equipment with a small incremental improvement in outcomes, but at a huge increase in cost. The company that I think is going to do really well is the company that creates a piece of equipment that does the same job at half the price or a third of the price, and it's reusable. It's reusable.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think those are the companies that are going to do well. So.
And thinking about the sort of format of the meeting, I mean, we've talked about the value and some of the merits and demerits of online meetings. How is IFOS 2022 going to work? I mean, is it going to be entirely physical? Are there going to be online bits, hybrid bits? How's it going to work?
Yeah, right now we're focusing on the in-person meeting. You know, Vancouver has so much to offer people, and we want to show that off. And I think we're at a place now, at least in Canada, where hopefully we will be able to do that in June 2022. You know, and even today I was reading about another one of the variants coming out of, I think, South Africa. And, you know, it's, you know, clearly there's going to be challenges along the way that we're going to have to meet. And you know, we're going to plan for a hybrid or a virtual component, but what that will look like, I think, is, you know, it's impossible to tell right now. And, you know, maybe we'll live broadcast the plenary sessions, or maybe we'll record them so that they're available for people to look at on the website after the meeting.
I think if the last 18 months have taught us anything, it's about how to be flexible. And, you know, 6 months out from this huge congress, you're still sort of thinking about how you can flex it in one direction or another, depending on what happens. I mean, it would have been unthinkable a couple of years ago. We were also sort of fixed in our mindsets, I think, back in 2019. But, you know, times have changed.
Yeah, no, very much so, isn't it? I always say the sign of a good surgeon is one who's flexible, and you can tell when, you know, how good a surgeon is, not by how good they are in the operating room when things are going great. Yeah. But when things go to hell in a handbag, that's when you can tell how good a surgeon is. So.
Right. Absolutely. Listen, just finally, I mean, we know that Vancouver has a huge amount to offer. I mean, I've never been to Vancouver, but I'm looking forward to it. I've heard so much about it. What can we expect to see from a sort of social and from a physical point of view when we get there?
Yeah, you know, and Vancouver is, you know, we pride ourselves in being a green city, and, you know, we're striving to be the greenest city in Canada, if not North America. You know, from the Vancouver Convention Center and the hotel blocks, which are downtown, you can walk to Stanley Park, which is 400 hectares, I think, of green space. You know, the 500,000 trees in there, some of which are hundreds of years old and 75 meters plus tall. And there's a 10-kilometer loop around the outside that you can do a running loop if you're a runner. Or trails within the center of the park if you're a cyclist. A short ferry ride will take you over to the North Shore, where there's fantastic mountain biking and hiking, and you can take the gondola up to Grouse Mountain, which have beautiful views of the city looking down on Vancouver. And even, you know, within walking distance of the convention center as well, there's, you know, all kinds of shopping of every different level that you would want. There's the art gallery with the First Nation or Indigenous artists standing exhibits. And so it's, you know, it's a fantastic area. And, you know, after the meeting, if you haven't had your fix yet, then we've arranged for a cruise from Vancouver up to Alaska and back again if you want to. Or you can do a tour up and around Alaska as well. So, and if that doesn't try, you know, we can bespoke a package for you as well. So you just let us know what you need, and we'll set it up for you.
Fantastic. Well, I'm certainly going to be bringing my running shoes. I think I think it sounds like that's the right way to get around for sure.
Yeah, well, if you're a runner, that's good. I'm not a runner. I'll be taking my bike down to Stanley Park. Thank you very much.
Brilliant. Brian, lovely to chat to you. Thanks very much. We'll see you in Vancouver next year.
Looking forward to seeing you as well.
Likewise. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.